Alright, this is going to be a quick, low-effort video to address something I realized I never covered in the system, and I don't really feel belongs in the actual rules text of the system. This topic is distortion, and specifically, player characters distorting. NPC distortions are easy. You can handle it like Limbus does, with distortions occurring as a second phase of major villains, or you can go with more of a distortion detective route, where some distortions have their own domain and you have to understand the philosophy of the distortion to progress the story. But what about player characters distorting? I'll be upfront, I have no intention to make this into a mechanic. That's not to say that I don't want it to happen in campaigns. On the contrary, I think it's a really cool story beat that can be used for some incredible moments. And that's exactly why I don't want to put it into writing. I don't think distortion should be thrown around haphazardly, unless the campaign is specifically focused on a distortion of the week format. If you're going to distort, you should make it big, and have consequences that last through the rest of the campaign. So, how do you do this when it's a player who's distorting? Well, first find out if they want to distort in the first place. As far as I've thought of, there's two ways to do this. First is that the player approaches the GM early on with their desire to add distortion into their character arc. The GM can say, yeah, I'll build up to that, and they can discuss what themes and mechanics they want their distorted form to use. The second way is to hint at the idea mid-session, building up more and more emotional moments until finally, the player hears the voice of the distortion in their minds. The character may then choose to distort, and the GM either creates a stat sheet based on their understanding of the character, or, if you do a cliffhanger, the GM works with the player in between sessions, like with the first option. Next, figure out the mechanics. There's another two options here, I'll call them Metamorphosis and Disaster. With Metamorphosis, you become a distortion who retains their mind and goals. You're still a party member, just different now. With this option, you should have the chance to revise your character, be it stats, skills, ego, and passives. Figure out how your distortion changes how you interact with the world going forward. With Disaster, however, you're a boss fight, baby. You get the full enemy sheet and you're in control, though the GM still helps manage the flow of combat. You still function as an NPC enemy for the purposes of combat. Once defeated, it's up to you whether your character is able to reverse the distortion and return to the party, or if the party has to put you down, or maybe run away and give your character to the GM to become a reoccurring antagonist, and make a new character entirely. That's about all I wanted to cover. Again, this is just my opinions on how distortion should be handled, but it's not hard rules. Do what works for your group, just be sure players have a strong input on how their distortions go. I'll see you in the next proper episode, which should hopefully be out this time next week. See ya!